Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Stewart. I am the lead financial coach and founder of Do Better Financial. This is the sixth installment of our Facebook Live series, 8 Ways to Improve Your Me Economy, or We Economy if you're married. I want to thank everybody on Facebook and on Instagram who helped me in figuring out the new cover for my book, which will be coming out shortly, and I will keep you guys posted. Thank you for all of your commentary and your comments. It helped me pull together some what I think is going to be actually a great book cover, and I have all the information all ready together. I just got to get it all put together and prettified, and that is not my forte right now, so I'm having somebody help me with that. So today what we're going to be talking about is FICO. Now, I'm sure you've heard the word FICO, but what actually is it? FICO is actually a company. They used to be the Fair Isaac Corporation that creates software that generates credit scores. So what is a credit score? Credit scores, along with credit reports, are used by lenders to help people to figure out whether or not you are credit worthy, whether or not they should lend you money, whether or not it's a good idea, whether or not you'll pay them back, things of that nature. So if you want to go to the bank, if you want a loan, they're usually going to pull your credit score and your credit report to make that decision. Now, as for the FICO credit score specifically, because there are other kinds, but FICO is the most common and the most widely known, what makes it up? So 35% of it is going to be your debt history, which is whether or not you make your payments on time, things of that nature. 30% is your level of debt, so it's how much you owe relative to how much credit is available to you, so they sometimes call it debt utilization. It's a big fancy word for it if you maxed out all your credit cards. Hey Jeremiah, thanks for joining us today. 15% of it is the age of your debt, so the length of time you've had your credit accounts open and active. So you might hear somebody say something like, oh, this was my first credit card that I got in college. I can't close it because, it'll mess up my credit score. That's what they're talking about. 10% of it is new debt, so when you any accounts you have recently opened, those are 10% of your of the component, and then the last 10% is the type of debt. So it's the different mixes of debt products that you utilize. So mortgages, credit cards, student loans, car loans. Hi, Cy, thanks for joining us today. All of those things, that mix is what's going to help them. Also goes into determining what your credit score is going to be. So the credit score ranges from 300 to 850, which would be the highest FICO credit score. And did you notice anything in particular about everything I listed as part of your credit score? Debt history, level, utilization, mix, newness, oldness, they all have to do with debt. Which is kind of the point. It's to figure out whether or not they want to lend you more money, so they figure out how much you've borrowed in the past and whether or not you'll pay it back, whether or not other people are willing to lend you money. So a lot of times people use this score as like a scorecard as to whether or not they're winning with money, right? They're like, ooh, you got an 800 FICO score, you must be doing great. Maybe, but in reality, maybe not. Here's the truth. I talk about Dave Ramsey a lot because he's the guy that I followed when I got out of debt. He no longer has a FICO score because he's been out of debt so long. So if you pay off all your debt and you don't have any, you end up with a FICO score of 0. Or it'll generate something that says like, there's not enough information to figure out a credit score for this person. They are either dead or they don't use it, right? So he is a millionaire. And he could walk to any apartment in Houston or any other city and try to rent an apartment, and they would not rent to him because he doesn't have a FICO score or a current credit report. But he could buy the building. So while it might that you're doing well, it may not indicate anything at all. So maybe it's not the best gauge of whether you're winning with money, because in reality, you could have a FICO score of 800 and not have a job. Hey Chris, thanks for watching today. it doesn't actually have anything to do with whether or not you're winning with money, with whether or not you are personally successful. It just has to do with your history of interaction with debt, right? And as we all know, lots of people are very good at robbing Peter to pay Paul. You pay this credit card with that credit card. You pay off the credit card with the line of credit. You juggle and you pay off the other credit. You pay the car note with the credit card, and then you go take out a loan to pay off the car note. I mean, people are really good at that juggling. While you are very ingenuitive, and I applaud you for being able to juggle it, sometimes those balls fall and then you're in a lot of trouble, which is how you end up with a poor credit score. So that's the truth about FICO. Now here's what I want you to understand about it. If you do what I did, which is pay off all your debt, eventually your FICO score will go away and your credit report will say you just have a bunch of closed accounts. So the question that I get, especially from people who are young, is what happens when I want to buy a house? How do I get a house with no credit score? Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. It's called manual underwriting. So typically when you go to the bank and you want a loan to buy a house, and particularly, you would fill out an application, and the first thing they would do is do automatic underwriting, which utilizes your credit score and your credit report to decide if you are credit worthy, right? If they should lend you money. And if you don't have a credit score and everything on your credit report's old or closed, they're not going to automatically lend you based on that. Now, not all banks do manual underwriting, but a lot of them do. Not as many as used to, but manual underwriting is where they actually figure out if you have money. So they're going to look at your last 6 months, depending on what you do, a year of check stubs. They're going to ask for things like verification of rent payments. They're going to ask for verification of utility payments. If you had some really bad things on your credit that you cleaned up, they may ask you to write a letter explaining all of it and why you're now ready to take on this large responsibility. They're actually going to sit down with you and figure out how much you can actually afford based on your income, all those types of things. So even if you qualify for automatic underwriting, manual underwriting is not a bad idea, even if you just do it on yourself. Because you need to be able to decide for yourself if you can afford whatever house it is that you're looking to get. The fact that they'll lend you $300,000 doesn't mean you should borrow $300,000. Maybe you should be like, you know what? Thanks, no thanks. 200's our limit because of this, and this. Because you've understood and you've gone through the number crunching of figuring out what you can afford. Now, if number crunching and figuring out what you can afford sounds like nails on a chalkboard, I understand. That's why I'm here. I am a financial coach, and one of the things that I can help you do is figure out if you can afford that home so that I can help you achieve your so-called American dream instead of it turning into a nightmare when broke, desperate, and stupid move into your spare bedroom, right? So I want to thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions, if you're interested in getting some help, you can email me at christian@dobetterfinancial.com, or you can hit me up on Facebook. Soon you will actually be able to utilize my website. I am almost done with that, and I will also have the book ready for you guys soon. So I would encourage you to join me next week. If you see me post anything about some more voting, please help me. I really appreciate it. Thank you, and I will see you next Monday. Have a good day.